The key slid into the lock, a familiar click, the sound of home. But the moment I stepped inside, a cold, foreign chill hit me. The muted thrum of a video game, the smell of stale pizza, and there, on my couch, was my brother, Liam, controller in hand, entirely unbothered. My parents had given him my spare key, letting him move in behind my back, a betrayal that sucker-punched me harder than any argument ever could. Outside, the late afternoon sun cast long, lazy shadows across my living room floor, but inside, a storm was brewing. The air was thick with the scent of cheap takeout and an oppressive sense of invasion. My heart hammered, a primal drumbeat of anger and disbelief. This wasn't just about a key. This was about a line irrevocably crossed. My name is Noah, and at 28, I'd poured my entire adult life into buying this house, my sanctuary. It's nothing grand, a modest 3-bedroom in a decent neighborhood, but it represents years of sweat, sacrifice, and the quiet pride of self-sufficiency. I worked 2 jobs through college, budgeting every penny, eating ramen until I knew all 50 ways to prepare it. I graduated with student loans, yes, but also with a solid career as an engineer. My younger brother, Liam, 21, has always been the family's golden child. While I was clocking in and out, he was exploring his options. When I graduated, he dropped out of college after 2 semesters, declaring that traditional education wasn't his path. My parents, Brenda and George, never stopped making excuses for him, polishing his failures into misunderstood triumphs. Last week, they invited me to dinner. Brenda even made my favorite pot roast, a surefire sign something was up. After dessert, they dropped the bomb. Liam needed to move in with me. Not temporarily, but indefinitely. Their reasoning? He was still figuring out his path, and as a stable older sibling, I should provide guidance through housing. I sat there, fork still in hand, the perfectly cooked roast suddenly tasting like ash. They'd been discussing this for weeks. Liam had been living with them since dropping out, but they thought he needed independence. Just not the kind where he actually pays for anything. Noah, you have 3 bedrooms, Brenda said, as if that settled everything. Her voice was too sweet, too reasonable. Liam needs space to grow, and you're in the perfect position to help him. I asked about rent. George actually laughed. A harsh, derisive sound. Family doesn't charge family rent, son. Besides, Liam's savings are tied up in his entrepreneurial ventures. Translation: he'd spent his college fund on cryptocurrency and lost most of it. Liam sat there the whole time, scrolling through his phone, occasionally nodding when my parents made a point. When I asked him directly what his plans were, he just shrugged. Just need some time to figure things out, bro. You know how it is. No, I didn't know how it is. At 21, I was working full-time while taking night classes. At 21, I was budgeting every penny to make rent on a crappy studio apartment. At 21, I wasn't expecting anyone to house me for free while I found myself. I told them I needed to think about it. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Brenda's face went from hopeful to deeply disappointed in seconds. I thought we raised you to value family, she said, her voice laced with venom. George added, we've done so much for you over the years. Is it too much to ask that you help your brother? Here's what gets me. Yes, they'd helped with college textbooks a few times. Yes, they let me stay with them for 2 months after graduation while I job hunted, but I'd paid them back, literally and figuratively. I'd helped with their house repairs, lent them money when George's hours got cut, and never asked for anything in return. Liam, on the other hand, had been living expense-free for 3 years. They'd funded his gap year, which turned into gap years, his failed dropshipping business, his cryptocurrency adventures, and his current status as a content creator. He has 47 YouTube subscribers. The ride home was silent. My girlfriend, Emily, was furious on my behalf. They're enabling him, she said, her jaw tight. And now they want you to do the same. Since that dinner, I'd received 4 texts from Brenda about family values, 2 calls from George about doing the right thing, and 1 email from Liam with a list of his housing requirements, including exclusive use of the garage for his studio. Brenda even started posting passive-aggressive Facebook updates about the importance of sibling bonds. My extended family was divided. Aunt Carol thought I was selfish. Uncle Daniel said I should stand my ground. My cousin, Chloe, who'd gone through something similar with her sister, warned me that indefinitely means forever. I'm not heartless. If Liam had a plan, any plan, I'd consider it. If he was working and needed a few months to save for a deposit, sure. If he was going back to school and needed support, absolutely. But moving indefinitely while he figures out his path, while I pay the mortgage, utilities, groceries, and maintenance? How is that fair? The worst part was the guilt. My parents kept saying things like, "We never thought you'd be the type to turn your back on family." And, "Success means nothing if you don't share it." They were acting like I was living in a mansion instead of a 1,400 square foot house with a mortgage that takes up 30% of my income. I've worked hard for everything I have. I've made sacrifices. I've delayed gratification. Now I'm finally in a position where I can start building my future, maybe even start a family with Emily in a few years. And I'm expected to put that on hold so Liam can play video games in my spare bedroom while waiting for inspiration to strike? Am I the bad one for wanting to say no? For thinking that at 21, Liam should be taking some responsibility for his life instead of expecting others to provide for him? For believing that family helps family should go both ways? I hadn't given them a final answer yet, but I was leaning toward no. I knew it was going to cause a storm. I knew my parents would be disappointed. I knew family gatherings would be awkward. But I couldn't shake the feeling that saying yes would be the worst thing I could do for me and for Liam. Update 1. My brother moved himself in while I was at work. I can't believe I'm writing this just 3 weeks after my original post. Your comments gave me the courage to stand firm. I wish I could say things got better. They got so much worse. After reading your responses, I decided to have a calm, mature conversation with my parents and Liam. I invited them over for coffee on a Saturday morning. I had talking points prepared. I was going to explain my position, offer alternative ways to help Liam, like helping him with a resume or job hunting, and set clear boundaries. Liam didn't show up. He had a late night, Brenda explained, rolling her eyes. Of course, he did. I went ahead with the conversation anyway. I explained that while I loved Liam, enabling him wasn't helping him. I offered to help in other ways. I'd review his resume, introduce him to my network, even help him apartment hunt, but I couldn't offer indefinite free housing. George's face turned red. We're not asking you to enable him. We're asking you to be a brother. Being a brother doesn't mean providing free housing to an adult who refuses to work. I responded, my voice tight. Brenda started crying. Real, actual tears. I never thought I'd raise such a selfish son, she sobbed. We've given you everything, and you can't even help your brother in his time of need. What need? I asked, my patience snapping. He's healthy. He's capable. He just doesn't want to work. The conversation devolved from there. They left after Brenda declared she needed to process this betrayal. I thought that was the end of it. I should have known better. Fast forward to this Monday. I came home from work to find Liam's beat-up car in my driveway. Strange, but I figured maybe he wanted to talk. I walked in to find him on my couch, PlayStation hooked up to my TV, empty pizza boxes on my coffee table. Oh, hey bro, he said, not looking away from his game. Mom gave me the spare key. I'm setting up in the back bedroom. I stood there, my key still in my hand, trying to process the brazen audacity. Liam, we discussed this. I said no. Yeah, but Mom and Dad said you didn't really mean it. They said you just needed time to adjust to the idea. That's when I noticed the suitcases in the hallway. Multiple suitcases. And boxes. Liam hadn't just moved in, he'd moved in. I called my parents immediately. Brenda answered on the first ring, almost like she was expecting it. Before you say anything, she started, her voice unnervingly calm. Just give it a chance. Liam's already there, and it would be traumatic to make him leave now. Sometimes family has to make decisions for the good of everyone. You gave him my spare key. My voice was barely a whisper, a strained growl of disbelief. We still had it from when you gave it to us for emergencies. This is an emergency, Noah. Your brother needs stability. I hung up. I turned to Liam, who was still gaming. You need to leave. Now. He finally paused his game, looked at me with an aggrieved expression. Come on, man, don't be like that. I'm already here. I'll be chill, I promise. You'll barely know I'm here.
Liam.
Get out of my house. Bro, I literally have nowhere else to go. Mom and Dad are renovating my room into a home gym. That stopped me cold. They're what?
Yeah.
They said since I was moving in with you, they could finally have that gym they've always wanted. The contractor starts tomorrow. They'd planned this. They'd literally made it impossible for Liam to return home, knowing I'd be less likely to throw him out if he had nowhere to go. The manipulation was breathtaking. I gave Liam two options: leave immediately, or I'd call the police. He chose option 3, calling our parents and putting them on speaker. The emotional manipulation that followed was Olympic level. Brenda sobbed about how she couldn't sleep knowing Liam was homeless. George accused me of being materialistic and forgetting where I came from. Liam threw in some comments about my fancy job, making me think I was better than everyone. But here's where it gets worse. Tuesday morning, I woke up to voices in my kitchen. Multiple voices. I found Liam making breakfast for 2 people I'd never seen before. Oh, hey, Liam said casually. This is Alex and Mike. They're crashing here for a bit, too. They're helping with my content creation. We're starting a podcast. I lost it. Completely lost it. I told everyone to get out. Liam's friends grabbed their stuff and left immediately, but Liam dug in. You can't just throw me out. I've established residency. I know my rights. You've been here one day. Doesn't matter. Mom said you'd try this, so I looked it up. You have to evict me properly now. I called in sick to work and spent the day researching tenant laws in my state. Liam was wrong about establishing residency in one day, but if I let this go on, he could be right. I needed to act fast. I changed the locks that afternoon while Liam was out. When he returned and couldn't get in, the text started. Liam, what the heck, bro? Liam, this is illegal. Liam, I'm calling Mom. Brenda, Noah, what have you done? Liam's outside in this cold. It was 68 degrees. George, this is not how we raised you. Open that door right now. I didn't respond to any of them. I did, however, respond to the police when they showed up. Apparently, Liam had called them, claiming he was illegally evicted. I showed them my deed, explained Liam had been there less than 48 hours without permission and had no lease or agreement. They told Liam to leave. The aftermath has been nuclear. My parents have told the entire extended family their version, that I threw out my homeless brother who just needed a place to stay while starting his business. They conveniently leave out the part about his friends, the planned room renovation, and the fact that Liam has no actual business. Aunt Carol posted on Facebook about family values being dead. Uncle Daniel texted me privately. Good for you. Stay strong. Cousin Chloe called to share her own horror stories and support me. Liam is currently couch surfing with friends, posting dramatic Instagram stories about betrayal and fake family. My parents blame me for ruining his momentum with his podcast plans. The best part? Brenda called yesterday to inform me that since I won't help Liam, they'll need the $500 I owe them from 2019 when they helped with my car repair paid back immediately. I paid it that same day with a screenshot of the payment and a text. All debt settled. Please lose my number. Emily has been my rock through this. She's changed our locks again in case they made copies, installed security cameras, and screened my calls when I just can't deal with another guilt trip. I've blocked Liam on everything. I've muted my parents. I'm taking a break from social media to avoid the family drama. I'm looking into therapy because the guilt, even though I know I did the right thing, is eating me alive. To everyone who warned me it would escalate, you were right. To everyone who said they'd try to manipulate me, you were prophets. To everyone who told me to stand my ground, thank you. Your words echo in my head when the doubt creeps in. I'll update again if anything significant happens. For now, I'm focusing on work, my relationship, and remembering that family shouldn't mean doormat. Update 2. 2 months later, my parents want me to move out of my house. I genuinely thought I'd never have to update this story again. I'd gone low contact with my parents. Liam was reportedly thriving, according to family Facebook posts, and I was finally enjoying peace in my own home. Emily and I even hosted a successful game night last weekend without drama. I should have known the other shoe was about to drop. It started with a text from Brenda 3 days ago. We need to have a family discussion. This has gone on long enough. I didn't respond, but she followed up. Liam is struggling, and as a family, we need to find a solution. Please come to dinner Thursday just to talk. Against Emily's advice and my better judgment, I agreed. I thought maybe they'd finally realized enabling Liam wasn't helping anyone. I thought wrong. I arrived to find Liam already there, looking surprisingly put together. New clothes, fresh haircut, even a collared shirt. Brenda had made lasagna, my childhood favorite. George was using his reasonable voice. Red flags everywhere. Noah. George started after we'd eaten. We've been thinking about the situation with Liam, and we've come up with a solution that works for everyone. I braced myself. Liam's shown real growth these past 2 months, Brenda chimed in. He's been consistent with his content creation. He's worked with other entrepreneurs, and he's really close to monetizing his platform. I checked later. His YouTube channel now has 73 subscribers. His last video, posted 3 weeks ago, has 12 views. That's great, I said cautiously. So, he's ready to get his own place? They exchanged looks. Liam stayed silent, focusing intently on his phone. Actually, George said, we think the opposite. Liam needs stability to take his business to the next level. The couch surfing is hurting his productivity. Okay, I said, waiting for the punchline. Brenda leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with what she clearly thought was brilliant logic. We think you should move back here temporarily, just for 6 months or so. Let Liam have your house. He needs the space for his studio and the professional setting for his brand. I laughed. Actually laughed out loud, a harsh, incredulous sound, because surely this was a joke. It wasn't. Hear us out, George continued, undeterred. You'd keep paying the mortgage. It's an investment in your brother's future, and by extension, the family's future. When Liam's business takes off, he can buy you out at market value. You'll probably even make a profit. Plus, Brenda added, her voice sugary sweet, your old room is available now since the gym equipment didn't work out. You seemed so happy here growing up. It would be like old times. I looked at Liam. He finally met my eyes and shrugged. It makes sense, bro. You can work from anywhere, but I need a proper setup for filming. Your house has that great natural light. The audacity was breathtaking. They wanted me to, 1, move out of the house I bought. 2, continue paying the mortgage. 3, move back into my childhood bedroom. 4, give Liam full access to my home. 5, hope that somehow his business would explode and he'd eventually buy me out. Do you hear yourselves? I asked, my voice dangerously calm. You want me to pay for Liam to live in my house while I move back in with you? It's temporary, Brenda insisted. And think of it as an investment. Liam's already had interest from sponsors. What sponsors? I demanded. Liam mumbled something about pending deals and NDAs. George jumped in. The point is, family helps family. You have the means to help, and Liam has the potential. Why are you being so stubborn about this? Because it's insane. I stood up. You're literally asking me to subsidize Liam's lifestyle while giving up my own home. 6 months. Brenda pleaded, her eyes glistening. Just 6 months. If his business isn't profitable by then, we'll revisit. No, I said firmly. This is beyond unreasonable. Liam is an adult. If he needs a studio, he can get a job and rent one. Liam finally spoke up, his voice dripping with accusation. Must be nice to have everything handed to you. Some of us have to struggle. Handed to me? I couldn't believe it. I worked 2 jobs through college. I lived on ramen for years to save for a down payment. What exactly was handed to me? You had advantages, he said cryptically. Traditional path privilege. I don't even know what that means, and I didn't ask. Brenda started crying again. We're just trying to help both our sons succeed. Why can't you see that? Helping Liam succeed doesn't require me to fail. I shot back. George's reasonable voice disappeared. No one's asking you to fail. We're asking you to step up as the older brother. Leaders make sacrifices. Then let Liam lead. Let him sacrifice something for once. The dinner ended with Brenda sobbing about her broken family, George calling me selfish, and Liam muttering about fake support as he stormed out. I left feeling like I'd entered an alternate universe, where up was down, and personal responsibility was a foreign concept. The next morning, I woke up to a family group text I'd forgotten to leave. Aunt Carol heard about Noah refusing to help Liam again. Some people forget where they came from. Cousin Ben, wait, what happened now? Brenda, we asked Noah to make a small sacrifice to help Liam's business grow, and he refused. We're heartbroken. Cousin Chloe, what kind of sacrifice? Brenda, just to let Liam use his house temporarily while he builds his brand. Noah would stay with us, but apparently, that's too much to ask. The replies started pouring in. Some supported the idea, saying it was creative problem-solving and what family does. Others, thankfully, pointed out the insanity of asking someone to move out of their own home while still paying for it. Uncle Daniel texted me privately. Is this real? They want you to move out of your house. I sent him screenshots of the texts. His response: block them all. This is beyond enabling. This is delusional. Emily was furious when I told her. They've completely lost touch with reality. What's next? Are they going to ask you to give Liam your car while you take the bus? Don't give them ideas, I muttered. Yesterday, I received an email from George with a subject line: formal proposal. He'd actually written up a contract for the arrangement. I would temporarily relocate for 6 to 12 months. I'd continue all mortgage, utility, and maintenance payments. Liam would have full use of the property for business purposes. Liam would maintain the property to the best of his ability. After Liam's business became profitable, he would have the option to purchase at market value. If Liam chose not to purchase, I could return pending mutual agreement on timing. He actually CC'd Liam and Brenda like this was a legitimate business proposal. I replied, all with just no. Stop asking. The answer will always be no. Brenda called within minutes. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail saying I was choosing property over people and that she hoped my fancy house kept me warm at night since I was ice cold to family. Liam posted on Instagram, when your own blood won't invest in your dreams, then my cousin Mark, different from Liam's friend Alex, reached out. Apparently, Liam's been telling people I offered to let him use my house, but then backed out, leaving him stranded. He's literally rewriting history to make himself the victim. I'm done. Completely done. I've blocked my parents' numbers, left all family group chats, and unfriended relatives who've chosen sides. The only family I'm in contact with are Uncle Daniel, Cousin Chloe, and a few others who've seen through the manipulation. Emily suggested we take a vacation, get away from all this drama. I think she's right. I've worked hard for what I have, and I'll be damned if I let anyone, family or not, guilt me into giving it up. The saddest part? If Liam had shown any initiative, gotten a part-time job, created a business plan, shown genuine effort, I would have helped him. But this expectation that I should sacrifice everything I've worked for while he sacrifices nothing? Never. To those who said it would get worse before it got better, you weren't kidding. But I'm standing firm. My house, my rules, my life. And to anyone dealing with similar family dynamics, you're not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm, even if those people share your DNA. I'm hoping this is my final update. I'm ready to move on with my life, with or without my biological family. At least I know who really has my back. Thank you all for your support through this insanity. It's kept me sane. Final update. The truth came out. I wasn't going to update again, but what happened last week needs to be shared. It turns out this whole situation was even more calculated than I imagined. After 2 weeks of blessed silence, Cousin Chloe called with shocking news. She'd run into Liam's ex-girlfriend, Chloe, who dated him for 3 years until last summer. What Chloe told her changed everything. Apparently, this isn't Liam's first rodeo. 2 years ago, He convinced Chloe to let him move into her apartment temporarily while he launched his streaming career. She paid rent while he contributed exposure and networking. When she finally asked him to contribute financially, he accused her of not believing in his dreams and turned her friends against her. Sound familiar? But here's the kicker. Chloe said my parents were in on it. They'd coached Liam on what to say, helped him guilt-trip her, and even called her parents to pressure them. When Chloe finally kicked him out, my parents told everyone she was a gold digger who abandoned Liam when he needed support. Michelle immediately called me. Noah, there's more. Remember when Aunt Carol's son, Mark, offered Liam a job at his company last year? I vaguely remembered. Liam said it wasn't a good fit. No, Chloe corrected. Liam accepted, worked for 3 days, then claimed he hurt his back and needed workers' comp. Mark had to involve lawyers to prove Liam never actually injured himself. Your parents backed Liam's story until security footage proved he lied. Everything clicked. This wasn't just about Liam being enabled. This was a pattern, a con game my parents actively participated in. I called Uncle Daniel. He confirmed Mark's story and added another. Your parents tried this with me 15 years ago. Wanted me to hire Liam's older cousin, Scott, with a guaranteed loan for my business. When I refused, they didn't speak to me for 2 years. Armed with this information, I did some digging. Found Liam's old social media accounts, abandoned when he rebranded. Post after post about different ventures, always needing investors, always one step away from success. The comments were telling. Former friends asking for their money back. Ex-roommates warning others. Then Emily found the smoking gun. On a local Facebook group, someone had posted a warning about Liam from 6 months ago. Guy named Liam claimed he needed a temporary place to crash while his media empire took off. Ate my food, ran up my electricity bill, refused to leave, had to threaten legal action. Parents called nonstop guilt-tripping. Avoid. 37 comments followed. 37. All similar stories. Liam and my parents had been running this scam for years. I compiled everything, screenshots, testimonies, dates, into a folder. Then I did something petty. I sent it all to the family group chat I'd left with a message. Since everyone's so concerned about helping Liam, here's some context you might find interesting. Seems I'm not the first selfish person to refuse to subsidize his lifestyle. The explosion was immediate. Aunt Carol, this can't be real. Liam owes me $300 from 2019. Uncle Sam, Brenda, George, is this true? Cousin Hannah, OMG, he tried this with my roommate last year. My parents tried damage control. Brenda, these are all misunderstandings. People are ganging up on Liam because they're jealous of his potential. But the floodgates had opened. Story after story poured in. Liam had borrowed money for equipment that never materialized. He'd crashed in spare rooms that he tried to claim as permanent residences. He'd convinced people to invest in businesses that existed only in his imagination. The family consensus shifted dramatically. Suddenly, I wasn't the selfish brother. I was the smart one who saw through the con. Liam tried to defend himself in the chat. You're all just mad because I don't follow the traditional path. This is tall poppy syndrome. Cousin Mark responded, No, Liam, we're mad because you're a con artist and your parents are your accomplices. That's when George made a tactical error. He accidentally replied in the family chat instead of privately to Brenda. This is getting out of hand. We need to do damage control before they connect the Scott situation to us. The Scott situation, their nephew, who they tried to get Uncle Daniel to hire. Turns out Scott is now in prison for fraud. The chat went nuclear. Family members started connecting dots going back decades. My parents had a pattern of backing deadbeat relatives, pressuring family to help, then cutting off anyone who refused. Uncle Daniel dropped the final bomb. George still owes me $5,000 from when he needed to invest in Liam's future in 2018. Promised to pay it back when Liam's first business took off. I'm still waiting. My phone rang. It was Brenda, sobbing but not apologetic sobbing. Angry sobbing. You've ruined everything, she screamed. Liam's reputation is destroyed. How could you do this to your own brother? I didn't do anything, I said calmly, my voice steady despite the tremors inside. I just shared information. Liam ruined his own reputation. Those people are lying. Liam's just had bad luck. 37 different instances of bad luck. She hung up. George texted, "You've torn this family apart. Hope you're happy." I responded, "I didn't tear anything. I just pulled back the curtain." The aftermath has been intense, but validating. Liam's been uninvited from family Christmas. Several relatives have demanded repayment for old loans. My parents are reportedly not speaking to most of the family. Aunt Carol apologized for calling me selfish. Uncle Daniel started a group chat for survivors of Brenda and George's schemes. The best part? Liam tried one more manipulation. He texted yesterday, "Bro, despite everything, I forgive you. Family is family. If you want to make this right, I could really use a loan to get back on my feet after this character assassination." I didn't respond, but I did laugh. The audacity remains undefeated. Emily and I are planning that vacation now. We're thinking somewhere tropical where the only family drama involves which restaurant to try for dinner. To everyone who's dealt with similar situations, document everything. Talk to other family members. You might discover you're not the first victim of the family con artist. And to Liam, if you're reading this after stalking my Reddit, get a job. Thanks for following this wild ride. I'm officially closing this chapter and looking forward to a future where my peace is non-negotiable. It was a long, painful road to get here, but discovering the truth, reclaiming my home, and choosing the family who truly supports me has been worth every single struggle. Has there ever been a moment in your life where you had to sever ties with family for your own peace? What did you learn from it? Share your stories below.